Yeah, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and namaste, everyone. If you remember, few days back, we have discussed about infrared sensor, right? What does infrared sensor do? What does it do? Can you help me?
Senses.
Sorry,
It senses it.
say again, Sarika.
It senses things.
It senses things. Okay, yes, it detects the object. Yes, Havisha, what do you want to say?
Temperature meter.
You want to say something, Havisha?
Temperature meter.
It detects the object. No, sir. It detects it is a control.
Sorry,
It is a control.
it's a sensor. Infrared is a sensor and it detects the object. I do have this with me, and on that day we discussed a particular thing. See, I do have the sensors with me. I'll just turn them on. Okay, I have the entire circuit with me with battery. I'll just turn them on. Okay, see here now I have the sensors with me, battery. If I bring my hand in front of the sensor, okay, again. Now, if you remember on that day, we had one question. What if there is a water? What if there is water in front of the sensor, the infrared sensor? So we'll do that experiment today. I have bought a bucket with me. I have a bucket, I have some water with me, and here is a glass of water. See if I bring this glass in entire. And the sensor,
Yeah.
the object. So it obviously the reflection would come back. Reflection would come back, but let's see what happens if I pour the water in front of the sensor. I'll do that now, and here it is. What happens?
It did not sense.
Yes, it did not sense. One more time I'll do.
It is small sense. It did sense.
It senses a bit, not fully, but a bit. Right, so it depends. Okay, if I put my entire hand, yes, it does. Okay, one more time, we'll try with water.
Wait. It didn't sense. Didn't sense.
So one more glass, let's do that.
Did not sense. It did not. It didn't sense. It did not sense. Liquid.
What can we conclude is,
It did not sense. It did not. It did not. It did not sense.
so what,
Did not sense. It doesn't sense.
what can we conclude with this?
That a sensor does not sense a liquid object. It senses only harder things and not light things.
Uh,
Infrared cannot detect the liquid.
Maybe see, we'll have to test again. If we talk about liquid, then we'll have to test this against colored liquid. Take, for example, we can put some color into the water. We can also try with milk, which is a complete white liquid. We'll have to test again in that case. But as far as the water is concerned, it is partially sensing the water, not fully. Right? Why? Because as you know, what is the principle of infrared? So infrared sensor, there is a transmitter and a receiver. So transmitter sends the signal. If you remember, we have used these drawings as well. There is a here is a transmitter. This is the transmitter, and this one is the receiver. Okay, so the transmitter sends the signal. who did that? The transmitter sends the signal. So these are the infrared rays which our eyes cannot see. Our eyes cannot see. Okay. So transmitter is sending the signal. Transmitter is sending the signal like this. And if we put any object here, if we bring any object here, okay, use this. Yeah. If I bring any object here, now this light will come back. The light will come back, and when it will be scattered, the light will be almost scattered. Okay. But there will be some light which hits the receiver like this. Okay. It hits the receiver like this. So in that case, the receiver will detect, oh yes, there is some object in between. And
water is moving, that's why it is not coming to the receiver and it's
now,
scattered.
yes, exactly, Abhiram. So now water is not 100% transparent nor 100% opaque, right? It depends on the impurities into the water, in many cases. So we are not receiving all the signals come back, but yes, sometimes some of the rays are coming back, very few. So we can say that it is partially. It detects water partially. And even if we try, okay, let's do one thing. If I try this by deeping, I'll not deep, but I'll just put. Okay, I don't have any more water. Oh yes, I do have water here in this glass. If I put this sensor, the infrared sensor inside the glass, okay, like this, I'll turn it on.
It will detect because water is not moving at that.
Not really. Yeah. Okay.
Because under water there is a glass which is opaque.
Yes, glass is opaque. That is the thing. If you use a kind of bucket, take for example, bucket would be this big. Bucket is full of water, and if you try it, then you need to go much nearer. You need to go much nearer to the water in order to start infrared sensor to detect the water. Okay. So this is what we can conclude so far about infrared sensor with water. And there is also one question about glass. We had discussed, that this question, if you remember, that what will happen if there is a glass in front of infrared sensor. So again, it depends on the glass of glass. See, we see glass as a transparent stuff, but chemically there are always so many impurities in the glass, right? So there would be at least some signals, some signals which will come back and receive. Yeah.
Sir, but then water is transparent, right?
Water is transparent, but not 100%. No, there are always some sort of impurities in the water, isn't it? Right?
Sir.
There are always some sort of impurities in the water. So it doesn't detect everything. So let's move ahead today in our class, and I have this image with me. I'll share my screen so you all can see this image. Share screen. Here it is. Okay. What do you see here? It's a sensor. Right? It's a sensor. So one of them here, this one. This one. This is a sensor. And as you can see the name here, this is IR. That means infrared. We have discussed this in past as well, if you remember. How many of you remember the infrared sensor? What does infrared sensor do? Yes. Very good. Nice. Very good. So, yes, this is the infrared sensor. And yeah, this is my marker, yes. Infrared sensor, as you can see, there are two LEDs. This component is called resistor, right? This one is resistor. All this. These are LEDs. LED. These two are also LED. And this component is called IC, integrated circuit. IC, integrated circuit. And this component is also resistor, but of a different kind. Okay, this is also a resistor, but of a different kind. It is a variable resistor. Okay, a variable resistor, or the other name for it is potentiometer. This 1, 2, 3, 4. All these 4 are fixed resistor, and this one is variable resistor. Now, this infrared sensor, this LED that you see, the white one, the transparent one, this one, this LED sends the light. It emits the light. Okay? It emits the light like this. It will emit the. We cannot see this light with our eyes, but we can see the light, a pink light, through the camera of your phone. You can try doing that. Okay? And if you put any obstacle in between, take for example your hand or something else. Okay? When you put an obstacle here, what will happen? This light will bounce back. This light will bounce back like this. Okay? And it will hit this black LED, which is a receiver. This LED, the black LED that you see, this one is a receiver, so it senses the light coming back. When it senses the light coming back, it detects the object in between, and then you can control anything further. So, if you remember the other day, I have shown you the automatic dispenser, the touchless sanitizer dispenser, if you remember, right? Yes. So, how does it work? So, this IR sensor will detect the object when you put your hand in between. The light will bounce back to the receiver. The receiver will say, oh, there is some object in between. So this circuit will process the instruction, and then from here, the output will be given to this circuit, which is called junction circuit. Okay, in junction circuit, here is a particular transistor which works as a switch, and it will send a signal to the pump, the sanitizer pump. I'll have to disable the annotation for attendees. Just a minute, please. Yeah. So you will send a signal to the pump, and pump will activate and will, yes, what will it do? It will pump out the sanitizer or whatever the liquid is, be it water or oil or liquid soap. It will pump out. Yes, it will pump out the liquid. This is how the touchless dispensers work. The same technology can be used for sanitizer dispenser, water dispenser, oil dispenser, liquid soap dispenser, even coffee and soup dispensers as well. You just put an object in between and it will activate. Okay? So this is again a kind of revision as well as some more exploration about sensors today. If we have any questions on this, let's discuss now. If you have questions, you can please raise your hand. Yes, Shreyash.
Sir, how do we check how much ohms is in a resistor? The fixed resistor.
We can get it through multimeter. There is a device.
Yes, sir. Sir, if you don't have it, is there any other way?
The other way, yes, there is one more way. You can, I'll share the screen one more time. So you can detect how many ohms, what is the capacity of the resistor through these rings. Do you see these rings here? Right, this one. On this, see a brown ring, black ring, orange and golden. Same here, here and here. Each of these colors reflect different numbers. And by joining those numbers, you can decide what is the capacity of the resistor. That is the perfect way, correct way, along with multimeter. Okay? Yes, Sia?
Sir, when the sensor will sense our hand, then what will happen?
When the sensor senses our hand, it will activate and will send the signal to the next module. The next module can be anything. It can be a beep, or it can be the light, or it can be the pump, whatever it is, whatever the application is.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So we have the power module with us, and we have this buzzer. Yeah, we have this buzzer, and we have this IR, infrared sensor. Okay, this thing, infrared sensor. So we have power, infrared sensor, and the buzzer, and I'm going to do something with this. We all know that the infrared detects what infrared does. Yes, Biplav, what infrared does?
So it's a type of a sensor.
Yeah, but what it does, it's a sensor, that's true.
There are different types, like one of them you told last class is that that detects the brightness, and another one is that detects, like for example your hand is closed and then it can detect it.
Yes, so this infrared sensor detects the object. Whatever object comes in between, see I have the circuit with me, the battery and the circuit. Okay, here is the battery and circuit. I'll place the battery and circuit here, and I have this infrared LEDs. I'll turn it on now, and you will see. Okay, so if you notice, then if I make my hand near, I push my hand nearer to the sensor. You can see the sensor now, right? So see. So here it detects. Here it doesn't. Okay. Now I'll do one thing. See what I have. We'll have the question answers once I finish this experiment. Okay, Sarika and everyone. See what I do have. What do I have? The matchbox. Okay, I have the matchbox. I will turn this on. I'll just use one matchstick and here it is. And now see what happens. What it was? Huh? Yes? What it was? Yes, I am sorry, I have to still tell you Chandrasekhar Patil because I forget your name. Okay, Chandrasekhar Patil, tell me what it was.
Sir, it was detecting or not detecting?
Yeah, tell me what it was doing.
It was detecting or not?
I put on the fire, right? And then what was happening? Yes, Sarika?
Sir, it was detecting light.
It was detecting the fire,
Yes.
not light. See, light is already there in the room, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Right, but it was detecting the fire because the fire will have some ultrasonic waves. So it was detecting the fire. Yes, Arohi, what do you want to say?
Sir, is it detecting the smoke of the fire?
No, it is not detecting the smoke. It is detecting the fire itself. Let me do one more time.
Yes, sir.
I'll put on the fire with the matchstick. Okay, so here it is on. And you see the distance. The fire is much far compared to my hand, right? See, at this far, at this distance, it doesn't detect my hand. I'll have to push near. Now it detects. But fire, it detects from much far, right? So infrared sensor, yes, it detects the object as well. But then, can you tell me what is the application of this now, of this experiment? What can we do with this? Yeah, Sarika. Okay, Arohi.
Sir, in our houses there are fire alarms. So if there's a fire in our house, the alarm will detect the fire and will start ringing.
Correct. Yes, that's true. We can use this infrared sensor. The same thing. We can use this for the object detection. We can use this for fire detection. Both, isn't it? Right? So this can be used as a fire detector. Yes, Tanush.
Sir, so it can also be used for blind people. So I made an app using proximity sensor in which the blind man hold the phone, and if there is any object, it will start beeping. So
Yeah.
we can use this to create a app for blind people.
Yes, we can do. We can place.
I have already done it.
Very good. We can place this infrared sensor at the tip of the blind, the stick of the blind people.
Yes, and even on the specs.
Correct. And the specs as well. Nice. Good ideas. Soumya, you want to say something? Your camera is off, Soumya. Turn it on.
Yes, sir. Saying that like if there is a fire anywhere, then like it will detect it. So then we can like it will help the destruction. Like it will prevent the destruction and all.
Correct. Yes, it can detect the fire. Okay. Yeah, Sarika, you want to say something?
Sir, so can it also detect smoke?
No, it cannot detect the smoke. If the smoke is dense, we have to, maybe we can do that kind of experiment as well. If the smoke is dense, where the visibility is affecting a lot, right? Where if this visibility is affecting, then there is a possibility that some of the infrared rays will come back because of the smoke. Yeah, there is a possibility. But again, as I said, we'll have to do that experiment if it really works in that way or no. Okay? Yeah, anything else? Any other question? Yes, Sarika, okay.
Sir, so how does fire alarm work? It can detect smoke from far away.
So that's a different sensor. The smoke detection is a different sensor. There can be specialized fire detection sensor as well. What we have done, we have used infrared sensor. See, sensors are of so many types. We have so many sensors within our body. Do you know? We have many sensors. Which are they? Do we have any sensor in our body?
Yes, sir, we have 5 senses.
Five sensor. Which are they?
So eyes, nose, and then mouth, and then ear, and then skin.
Correct. Yes, that's true. We have all these sensors. Through our eyes, we detect it's all about visibility. So we can see, we can detect the objects. We can hear. So that is a sensor, and we take decisions based on the sound. The taste is also a sensor. Forget that. The tongue. We have the tongue. That is a sensor. The skin is a sensor. With touch, maybe if the touch is smooth, we'll keep our hand, but if touch is harsh, we'll pull it back, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Sir, I had one more question. Sir, can the buzzer have a different sound?
Buzzer, the one we do have in this circuit as of now, it doesn't have the different sound. But yes, we can create different speakers as well. Okay, we will try to play music with infrared sensor in the next class. Okay. If you remember, in our previous class, we promised about playing the music. Do you remember that? Right? You remember that? Playing the music with infrared sensor. So I'll show you, just be with me here and I'll show you the infrared sensor and everything. Yes. So the power is on. It's power element. These are all elements. Okay. So this is the power element, and now I will connect the infrared element with this. Here I have the infrared element. I'll just plug. That's it. Done. Okay, it's done. And here we have the sensors. Okay, sensors for IR element. Okay, and now I'll plug. So here is the buzzer element. Okay, here is the buzzer element. This is the buzzer. I'll snap this with infrared now. Okay, as easy as snapping. That's it. Done. Control the IR. Fine. So now if you see, the circuit is ready. I'll place the circuit, and here I have the IR. Okay, done. Now, see, when I said music, we can just try controlling our fingers over to this IR LEDs, these two LEDs, and can try generating some bits of music. I'll do that. Listen to it. It beeps, right? Now let's try to generate the beep in a rhythm. Okay? Yeah? It works, no? Yeah, it works. One more time. I'll do something else. Yeah, it works. Let's try to generate a different rhythm. Interesting? It generates the rhythm, isn't it? One more time. Yeah, can you guess this song? Can you guess this song? I'll play one more time. Try to guess. Just tell me if I played it well or no. Okay, if you can guess this song really, it means it got played well. Listen carefully. Can you guess this? Yeah, Gaurang.
Sir, it is Jingle Bell song.
Yeah, it's Jingle Bell song. Nice. Correct, Gaurang. That's true. Jingle bells, very true. So this is, see, there is no complex circuit in this. We just snapped the power element with infrared element and infrared element with the buzzer element. And the property of infrared is it detects the object. So we use that property, we use the sensor, and I just controlled my fingers. Right? And it generated some rhythm. Good? Understood this? Fantastic. So now time for questions. If you have any questions on this, raise your hand and I'll try to answer those. Yes, Saloni.
Sir, like when you hold that, then how did you did that? How can that voice come out? I was confused in that.
Yeah, it's simple. See, it's if you remember, I taught about the infrared sensor. So what happens? There are two LEDs, right? In infrared sensor, there are two LEDs. So one is the transmitter, another is the receiver. So this one, this white one is the transmitter. It sends the light, which we cannot see. We cannot see this light, but if you see carefully, you will be able to see. Okay, I'll turn it on, and you will be through the camera. If you see it through the camera, you will be able to see some pink light in it. So that is the light which this white LED sends, and this black is a receiver. So when I put my hand here, the light which this transmitter has sent, it bounces, it bounces back. Right, the light will bounce back, and this receiver will know about that light. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Okay. Next question.
Yes, yes, sir. I have a question.
Yeah.
At night, the sensor detects when a ninja comes with a black suit. He keeps a hand, and the sensor can detect. Can the sensor see the hand?
Say again, Tirth, I could not understand some of this.
So, there is a pretend this is a black hand, and here is the sensor. Then how can the sensor detect? He has a black hand, and at dark he cannot see the black hand. And how can it buzz?
See, the sensor doesn't see. It doesn't see what happens. See, the screen is black, right? The screen is black, isn't it? The screen is black. If I place the screen here, it will reflect the rays, no? Let me do one thing. I'll share my screen to explain that a bit better. What happens? See, this is the transmitter, and this is the receiver. You have two LEDs. Okay, I'll use a different one. Yes, and this thing. Okay, perfect. So this is the receiver and this is the transmitter. So what happens now? The transmitter will send the signals. It sends the signals like this. It sends the rays, the light rays. We would not be able to see the rays. Our eyes cannot detect these rays. Okay? But it keeps sending the rays. So what happens when you place an object in between? When you place an object in between like this, now what will happen? These rays will bounce back, isn't it? The rays will bounce back. And while bouncing back, some of the rays will hit the receiver. And receiver will detect, oh, there is something has come in between. It can be anything. It can be hand, it can be clothes, it can be screen, it can be anything. It can be any object. But an object, whenever the object reflects the ray, the receiver, receiver will detect the, correct. And based on that, it will pass the signal that something has come in between. Understood now?
Yes.
Great. Great. Next question. You have any question? Adhiraj, it seems you have a question.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, you were doing you were telling that the sound frequency. After you were telling something about the sound frequency, that time my net went low. So can you tell some part of it again? Means it is the light is bouncing that thing.
So when the light bounces, like we have two LEDs. One is the transmitter, another is the receiver. So when an object comes in between of the rays will bounce back. So the receiver will detect those rays again, the infrared rays, which got bounced because of the object in between. And when it detects the rays, it would know that, oh yes, there is something. It is something like, see, I'll turn this torch on. What happens? See, the torch is on now. If I place my hand in between here, you see, the hand will reflect, right? Hand will reflect back the rays. It won't allow, now hand won't allow the rays to pass through. So here on the other side, the rays would not reach the other side, and hand will bounce the rays. So detector will detect those signals. Got it? Nice. Next, yes, Gauram.
Sir, I have a question. The infrared camera sensors send the sounds because of the beeper, right?
Sorry?
The infrared sensors are there, yes?
Yes.
They send the sound due to the beeper, right?
Yes. Buzzer. Yes. Yes. Buzzer. Yes. Tahir.
Sir, how can the IR sensor detect the fire faster than an object?
Dharma, say again.
Sir, how can the IR sensor detect fire faster than the hand?
Very good question. Superb. Tahir, it seems you are observing very carefully. Appreciate that. It's great question. Okay, all of you, if you didn't understand Tahir's question, I will say that again. What he actually wants to ask is, if you remember, when we detected fire using IR sensor in our previous class, I used the fire much far, right? Like this, if you remember. If you don't remember, you can go back to the previous class recording and watch it. I placed the fire somewhere like this, for example, up to this. Okay, but when I put my hand, I place it nearer, like this. So Tahir wants to understand why. Am I right, Tahir? Brilliant question, nice. So reason of that, Tahir, is, see, The fire is not reflecting the rays. Fire is generating the rays, right? Fire itself generates the infrared light. Even the sun also generates the infrared light. We cannot see infrared light. Remember, our eyes is not made to see the infrared light. We cannot see that. Okay? We cannot see infrared light. It comes from the sun. It comes from the high voltage bulbs as well. It can come from the fire as well. So when I place the fire, it is actually generating the light, and the light is now the receiver is detecting that light, not the reflected light, not the reflected signals. Understood, Tahir? So now the source is generating, so the source signal can come from the far. But when I am reflecting again in infrared sense in IR, we have the control. We have the control. We can control it. How far we want, the infrared to detect something. It can be this or even this. Okay, we can control that. Very nice question. Super.